Hey everybody, welcome back to Hey Let's Practice. This is Brett. I'm helping you practice your way through the Hal Leonard guitar method. And today we are doing the Star Spangled Banner number 72 on page 34 of the Hal Leonard guitar method. If you're enjoying the videos so far, please do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel, drop me a like, leave a comment. I've been getting some comments recently, which is great. I much appreciate it. I would love to see how y'all are doing out there. So I mentioned in the previous video, Snake Charmer, number 71, that Snake Charmer was a bit of a jump in difficulty from what we've done previously. Well, in this case, it's both a jump in difficulty and a jump in length. This is, by some measure, the longest tune that we've played so far. It's also using every string except for our low E string. We're not using the E string, but we're playing, let's see, on the A string, I've got a C, a D, an E, a C, a D on the D string, E, F sharp. Do we play an F natural down there? I don't think so, but there might be one. There's a G, A, B, C, D, E, F up here, and G up here. So we're using most of the notes that we've learned so far. We even have to use that pinky on the F sharp on the D string, right? So be careful. Accuracy is going to be a thing. And don't be surprised if you miss a whole bunch of notes and hit the wrong string a whole bunch of times and all that stuff. But what we're going to do is we're going to go phrase by phrase and say the notes, and then we're going to say and play, and then we're going to say the counts and play. But we're going to do it by phrases. In other words, we're going to go about 8 measures at a time. And you'll feel where those phrases are just musically, but you'll also see where they are on the page once we go through them. So again, we're going to go about 8 measures at a time, following the phrases. And we're going to say the notes. We're going to say and play, and then we're going to say the counts and play. And just as a reminder, because of our 8th notes, we count 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and throughout the entire thing. If you want to just say the counts while you're playing, while you're doing quarter notes, if you just want to say, for example, at the beginning, if you just want to say 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and 1, you can totally do that. But I'm going to be saying 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, because I like to keep that subdivision going all the time. All right. It's a very good habit to be in, because our rhythms are going to get more and more complex as we go, and just having that automatic subdivision going on in your head is a really good idea. Okay, so we're going to say the notes for the first 8 measures. We're going to start on the pickup, and we're going to stop at the C on the second line near the end of the second line, and you'll know what I'm talking about when we get there. Okay, so let's say the notes first, really slow, because this, again, we're crossing strings, we're changing fingerings, we're doing all sorts of stuff. So let's take this nice and easy. Here we go. Start on beat 3. We're in 3, and we're starting with 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and ready, go. Say the notes. G, E, C, E, G, C. Now E, D, C, E, F sharp, G, 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 E, D, C, B, A, B, C, C, G, E, C. Stop. Okay, that's how far we're going for the first phrase. Okay, now we're going to play that, and again, we're going to go really slow. And be not surprised when you trip up a little bit. Okay, find your G string real quick, right? Find your E, find your C. Those are your first 3 notes. The G is a downstroke, the E is an upstroke, the C is a downstroke. Remember, your downbeats, your numbered beats are downstrokes, Your ands are upstrokes, okay? Good luck. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. G, E, C, E, G, C, E, D, C, E, F sharp, G, nice. B, G, E, D, C, B, A, B, C, C, G, E, C, stop. Okay, very good. Now let's say the count. So we're going to start with 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and so forth. All right, good luck. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. 3 and 1 and 2 and 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 stop. Okay, let's try the second phrase, which is exactly the same. Exactly the same. All right, so let's say the notes, and we're going to stop at the C on the 4th line just before the big jump to the E's at the top of the staff. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, say the notes and go. G, E, C, E, G, C, E, D, C, E, F sharp, G, 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 E, D, C, B, A, B, C, C, G, E, C, stop. Okay, good luck. Here we go. Let's play them again. It's the same thing you just played, so if you were able to play it the first time, hopefully you can play it the second time. 1 and 2 and 3 and ready, go. G, E, C, E, G, C, 2, E, D, C, E, F sharp, G, 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 E, D, C, B, nice, A, B, C, C, G, E, C. And we're stopping there. Okay, now once again, say the counts and play the same notes. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and say the counts. 3 and 1 and 2 and 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 stop. Okay, so far so good, right? All right, here we go. Now we're starting with those 2 E's at the end of that measure. And we're ending at the first note of the second to last line. We're ending at that G there. Okay, let's say the notes real quick. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3, say the notes and go. E, 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 F, G, G, F, E, D, E, F, 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 E, D, C, B, A, B, C, E, F sharp, G, and stop. All right, let's give it a shot. 1 and 2 and 3, say the notes and play. E, 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 F, G, G, 2 and F, E, D, E, F, F, and 2 and F, E, and 2 and D, C, B, 2 and A, B, C, and E, F sharp, G, and 2 and stop. Okay. That's a little tricky because you're usually up here on this top string, and then all of a sudden you have to jump down to the D string. It can be a little tricky. Take your time and sort of go in between. Find those two notes. All right, let's say the counts and play. 1 and 2 and 3, say the counts, go. 3 and 1 and 2 and 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 3, 1 and 2 and stop. All right, sorry, I biffed a note in there somewhere. Okay, now when you get to the last line and you see that little bird's eye thing where it says pause, the fancy word for that is a fermata, it's a hold. We're just gonna hold it a little extra and then we're gonna keep going, all right? Here we go, let's say the notes and play the last 8 measures, starting on that G on beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and ready, go. G, C, 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 B, A, D, E, F, E, D, C, C, B, hold a little extra, G, G, C, D, E, F, G, C, D, E, F, D, C, and you're done. All right, let's try it. Good luck. Here we go. Say the notes and play. 1 and 2 and 3. Say the notes and play. G, G, C, C, B, A, D, E, F, E, D, C, C, B. Hold a little extra. G, G, C, D, E, F, G, C, D, E, F, D, C, 2, and done. And let's remember that the last measure only has 2 beats because of the pickup at the very beginning, because we're following, this tune is following that rule. Okay, let's play it again, say the counts. All right, I know this is tough. Hopefully you're hanging with me up until this point. Thank you if you're still with me at this point. Here we go. Let's say the notes and play. Say the counts and play. 1 and 2 and 3 and ready, go. 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Hold a little extra. 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2, and we're done. Okay, now hopefully you've stuck with me this far. This is a long tune. It's in 3 instead of 4. It's got a pickup. It's got 8 notes. We have to cross strings and all this kind of stuff. Keep at it. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. Also, it's written a little square, right? There are probably a couple of moments in the middle there, if you're familiar with the tune, as most Americans will be. That's not really the way we sing it, right? Some of the rhythms are a little different. That's because there are a couple of note values we haven't learned yet. And if you feel like playing, so... If you feel like playing the rhythm that you're used to, go for it, all right? All right, this was a tough one. This was long, and best of luck to you, and we'll see you in the next video. All right, bye-bye.